Alright guys, welcome to another episode of review. Today we're going to be reviewing Shadow and Bone that just dropped on Netflix. Yes. Now the way the reviews, I don't know is this going to be a spoiler review, no spoiler review. I'm going to make it no spoiler review. So instead of going into details of what happened in the entirety of the series, of which if you've read the book is not exactly a spoiler, if you know what I mean, let's just talk about the things we like from this series adaptation, yes, and the things we didn't like. Because with most times when they turn a book into a series or a movie, there's always that part you're always like, why did they do that? Why didn't they do that? Why was this that? Why did they cast this person as such? So those are the things we're going to be covering on today's review. Now, let's start with the things we like. If you like, you should start on a good note, right? Now, let's take it light. Things I like when I saw this. I liked when I saw the series was the kefta. I know it seems like such minutia of a thing to think of, but yes, the kefta is just as I imagined when I was reading the book. So I was very happy about it. Color choices, so that's out of the way. But another thing I wanted to see was how the powers were portrayed. Speaking of the powers, I love the way Alina's powers were, the way they acted. I even liked when they added the extra scene of her being to divide the ball of light in one hand. Basically, with Elena, I don't think I have complaints when it came to her power. No, not really. With everybody, I don't have complaints. Even with the Hatchfinder, it was like, you know, I don't know the words I'm looking for right now, but like beauty comes to life sort of thing. So that kind of, I liked the power. With the Darkling too, it was how I imagined the darkness creeping in. But speaking of powers, I have to talk about the cut. If you haven't read the book, you don't know what I'm talking about. If you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. I was looking forward to the cut. That scene where the Darkling cut the Ferdan. I guess I'm pronouncing. They have this Viking accent to the pronunciation. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyways, let's just go with Ferdan. Yeah. When he cut the Ferdan trying to kill Elena, I felt that was a waste. There was no climax to the cut, and I was looking for it, and it was like he went, and I was like, huh? That was it. I thought they were going to give me visuals. I thought we were going to see the thing go whoosh, and you just see one half of the guy falling down, that sort of thing. That's what I imagined. That's what I was looking forward to. So to see I was disappointed, that's in the list. Saying I was disappointed is a good review. So I felt like they should do more with the cut. Of all the powers, I felt like the cut was the serious one, the ones that it takes a person of power to do, and I was waiting for the scene the entire movie, and they gave me that, and I was like, hey. When I was disappointed with Darkling's cut, I was like, okay, let's wait for Elena's cut. For those of us who've read the book one, Elena did that exact thing, the cut at the, I say the end scene, when she left the boat and ran after Mal after the Darkling threw him overboard. Well, since the entire scene wasn't written the same way in the movie, they did away with everything. So we didn't get to see Elena do the cut. Because I felt like when I was reading the book, that was the part of the book for me. I was like, oh, this girl is coming to her own. This girl is so powerful. Because remember, the cut wasn't something that was taught to her. She only saw the Darkling do that, and she did it in the boat. But no, wasted scene, which will fall under the things I didn't like. So I'm kind of like deviating basically. But their powers were good. They were on point. So more on that later. Now, another thing I loved that it was just the way I imagined it was the fold. The food was gorgeous. I mean, it feels like a terrible thing to say. Was super gorgeous. The way the boat goes inside it when the scholars move it, and the way it is, the interior of it itself, I felt it was absolutely beautiful. Now let's talk about Zoya. Zoya, for me, I love Zoya as a cast, or the actress cast as Zoya, but I had a problem with the Zoya character in the movie, but we'll talk more on that later. But I think some of the cast I loved, that I felt like these people were well cast. That would be Zoya, Ben Barnes as the Darkling, of course, and also Zoe Wanamaker as Bagra. I don't know, that's how I imagined Bagra, so I felt like she embodied Bagra. For me personally, Bagra was the best of the casting goals for me. Mal, I don't know, maybe because I wasn't a Malina shipper, I never really kind of imagined Mal, but the actor as a person playing Mal is kind of growing on me, so we'll see where that goes. So that was a good casting on their part as well. Then also, speaking of casting, I have to talk about Kaz, Inej, Jesper, is it Nina and Matthias? Yes. Now I haven't read the entire book in its entirety, so I don't know if those characters came in or if this is just writing and they're introducing them. But I am not mad at it if they just decide to do their own thing with writing the script for this series, and they decide to bring in these characters. It makes sense. This is, if that's what's happening here, this is one of the time that a movie brought in a character that wasn't in the book and it made sense. Or even if these characters came out with in the book, I felt the way they placed them from season 1 makes sense. I love Jesper. Jesper played the role of the comic relief we all needed in the movie that was sometimes too serious. I mean, most times too serious from the get-go. So Jasper was the comic relief we needed, which I felt like in the book there was zero comic relief. So Jasper played that part immensely. And for characters that were not in the book, at least in book 1, to be, because they had so many scenes and so many lines, so for me I felt like they were a main character, of which moving forward to the next season there's no way these characters will be back as main character, because we all as viewers want to see how they develop as character, what their next step is going to be. But that will be the band of 3, that's Kaz, Inej and Jesper. Since it's a no spoiler review, I'm not going to really talk much on them, but you are going to love those characters. It makes so much sense that they were there, the way they were written into the movie makes so much sense. Because even while I was reading the book, I was wondering, like, okay, apart from them making the initial attempt to kill Alina, how did no one make any more attempts as well? Now, another characters that came into it was Nina, Nina the Heartrender, and Matthias was supposed to be Ferdan, Grisha Killer, but we're not spoiling. I love those 2 characters. I love their dynamics together. And anyways, I'm looking forward to season 2. I mean, obviously things didn't end on a good note for both of them, so we're going to see how that play out in season 2. Will the whole thing turn into hatred, or they'll find a middle ground with where they found themselves so far? So those are the new characters that came in season 1, which is Kaz, Inej, Jesper, Nina, Matthias, and they were worth it. They were worth every bit of it. Speaking of characters, Mary. I think it's Mary. Mary was is it Mary or Marina? Girl, I'm forgetting names. Mary was one of those characters that during the book, she was in the book rather, but she was like that afterthought character in the book. But I felt the way they wrote her character in the movie, it makes more sense. She played more of a significant role than just being the afterthought character. And the fact that they killed her, I felt it gave her character a purpose as well. But I'm not going to tell you how that played out. So yeah, but I just felt Mary as a character in the book and in the series, Mary made more sense. Let's just leave it at that. Now, down to things we did not like. Those are the things we liked. I mean, let's be honest, we like most of the things in the series. But there were some nitpicking. I had to do it. I felt like if I hadn't read the book before seeing the series, I wouldn't have so much to pick out. It would just be a series I really enjoyed. But since there was already written work on it, you can't help but compare. Oh, speaking of that, I also love the fact that they did the backstory. I mean, they did backstory in the book, obviously, but not in book one. I love the fact that they gave the Darkling a rounded story, of which I don't know this part if I like or don't like, if it's something I like or I don't like. But I felt like with this series, it was something I was waiting for. I felt the writers should take creative liberty. I've always loved the Darkling, even with all his behavior in the book. I've always loved him. I've always shipped him somehow. I've always tried to understand him. But I felt in the movie, the writers were kind of going out of their way to put the Darkling in a good light. First, the backstory. The backstory, you understand, the Darkling is a complicated man. What can we say? The backstory made him look good, kind of gave a reason for why the fold is. But also, now, in the book, after the Darkling claimed Elena wore the antler of the Morozova, although he promised Elena that Mal would be fine, even though he was obviously using Mal as a string to pull Elena, he decided to throw him overboard while they were in the fold. That was just like his ruthlessness just came out. But they decided to rewrite things in the series and kind of making the Darkling look like a man of his word. He let Mal go, but Mal chose to come into the ship as well. Speaking of things I like, the part where they lit up like Elena's power lit up like a tunnel inside the fold. Oh, that was just gorgeous. But that's me rambling about. Now let's go to things we did not like. I wanted to see Elena be sickly. If you've read the book, Elena was supposed to be this skinny, sickly looking girl that doesn't really eat. Which kind of, there's a backstory to it. She has been suppressing her powers and I guess it's eating her from within, and she doesn't look so healthy on the outside. And then when she starts using the power, manifesting the powers she's supposed to use her entire life, she's there looking robust and healthy and cute. So I was expecting to see a more sickly Elena so that I will get that significant change of when she starts using her power, but there was none of that, and that kind of ate me. I was like, ugh, why? I was looking forward to that. Then another thing I didn't like, I don't know if I would say, is the casting of Genya. But Genya, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're a fan of this book, Genya is a character we were looking forward to as a whole. The way Genya was described in the book, like this immeasurable beauty. And I felt like they fell short with this one. And then they gave the actress this red wig that you can obviously tell is a wig. I felt they would have done more with Genya as a character. Even her work as a tailor, they didn't even like lean into that. Let's see the tailoring work she can do, all the modifications she could make to a person. Like, ooh, can she make your nose straighter, your eyes wider, your lips, things she could do. I felt like they dropped the ball on that one. They could have done a lot with Genya character. As a reader of the book, I was looking forward to Genya and what I was going to get, what I was going to see in the movie of Genya as a character, and I was not impressed by that. Another character I was impressed by was the Apparat. The Apparat was described in the book as looking I don't know if there's a way to look snaky or sneaky, but I just imagine reading the book. I imagine the apparatus to be doubly or sniggle like looking, or just uh what's this character from, I think, Community, the principal from Community. I don't know, but that's just the face I see when I read about the apparatus. And I got this guy, and I'm like, ugh, it's you. I won't be scared of you. I won't meet you in the hall and be like, ooh, my aura doesn't agree with this guy. There's something fishy about you. I would have a conversation with you. And that part is not supposed to give up that vibe. It's supposed to give up, the vibe of, ugh, I don't like you. Or you're just not a good person. But it was there. Another thing I didn't like was Mal and Lina's relationship. I felt even in the book, even if there wasn't so much going on with Mal and Alina in book one, even if they didn't lean so much on their romantic relationship, when they were searching for the Morozova, there was something. Feelings were confessed, and then there was a kiss, which kind of gave us the big point of, oh, these people are going somewhere with this relationship, and there was none of that. So that's what I did not like about the series, because I felt like Declan is a bad guy. He's the bad guy. Yes, there's some sort of twisted feelings with Elena, but he's the bad guy, and for some reason, this series is putting the Darkling in a good light, and they are not shedding so much light on Mal and Elena's romantic relationship. I mean, they give you that hint of, oh, they like each other, but you don't see it like words from the horse's mouth. We don't get that. So I felt that it could build on that, but it didn't. Then the other thing I mentioned, which is the last thing I said, the change of the Darkling storyline, like they made him look like he was a man of his word. When he was supposed to throw Mal out, it was like, oh, Mal came off out of his own volition and kind of ticked him off. And another thing that I did not like in the movie, in the book, obviously, Elena left the boat to save Mal after the Darkling threw him overboard, and then she did the cut on the boat without thinking of. I know her target was the Darkling, but she did it without thinking of the other people on board. And as the book goes further in book 2, you find out that a lot of people lost their life from what she did, and so many others were injured, which was something that continued to play on her conscience as book 2 goes forward. But I felt like that was such a useful scene. It was a useful part of the story because it played on her conscience, and they could have done more with that, or why she acts some certain way, but they just totally scrapped that part of the story. Instead, it was the Darkling that was going rampage and just killing people on the boat. So I don't know what's up with that story, but I did not like that at all. So in general, I think, oh, no. Another thing I didn't like. Obviously, we know after what happened in the fold at the end of book 1, Ivan survived it. By the end of the series, there was no Ivan. We already knew the Darkling survived it, and then developed new powers. I loved the CGI of what him and the piece of the fold he came out with, what they look like as a monster. I love that visual. I love the scars on his face. Those are the things we're expecting, but I'm like, where is Ivan? Ivan was his right-hand man guy. Ivan survived that boat. I felt we could have seen Ivan. If they just killed Ivan like that, that would really piss me off. Oh, excuse me, you too. But that was it. So those are the things we like, those are the things we don't like. So now in conclusion, what are we looking forward to? Obviously, we're looking forward to season 2. The entire season 1 was book 1, so obviously season 2 will kick off from book 2. But there are so many facets to the story right now. We have the new characters, so it's like the story is expanding to every which way. Oh, child! I didn't talk about something I didn't like. In the book, Jacqueline killed the Morozova and wore Alina his antler, or a piece of his antler. There was nothing like connecting a piece of bone to the Jacqueline to control the whole thing. So I felt like it was, although that storyline made sense that she could break free from him by pulling his own piece of the bone out, but at the same time it doesn't. Because if what she's saying is that your amplifier has to choose you to, meaning the amplifier already chose her, like she could have broken the bond between her and the Darkling with her pulling out that piece of bone. Just my thought. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I felt like that's the kind of thing I was like, ugh, why? Even when they were putting the bone in him, I was like, why? So let me know what you think about that scene down in the comment section. All of these points I've brought out, let me know what you think about them in the comment section below. If you do have any other addition, let's discuss it down in the comment section below. That's it for this video. While we're on it, if you're still with me, take out the time, subscribe to this channel. We like having fun here. Click the subscribe button, your notification bell, so you don't miss any more of this. So till next time.